I get a call from Dreamworks and they're like, hey, do you want to be in this movie? And it was like, I sure do.
Hit it.
Which movie?
The Bad Guys. The shark sings along to the song in the opening scene and it's rad.
Pluto hip hop funny. Yeah, it works for me. So double.
I just got to a point with it where it was like, maybe I'll postpone. Like postpone dating, postpone having kids, all of it. And it's when stuff kind of wasn't working as well. Then I took to prayer and fasting in a way that I don't know if I ever have exactly. Like I was really torn up about it.
I remember you, dude, probably like meeting you 10 years ago or something right. in the music scene here. And you brought the fun.
Thank you.
The scene was so serious and it was good.
Yeah.
But it was really serious. Do you remember how serious it was?
I do a little bit. What I remember, so Davey and I always kind of spiritually were trying to copy Eyes, Lips, Eyes. I don't know if you remember them.
I do.
Couldn't be more different in terms of sound.
That's true.
But they just threw a party. And somehow it wasn't the kind of party that necessarily, it didn't require drugs and alcohol to make it. It basically just required Aaron and Tony. Yeah. Aaron and Tony would dance and get in and mix it up with everybody. And while we were at school, that was like the most fun show in town, at least for my money.
Yeah. I remember I went to one concert and I was so inspired by how fun it was. I went home that night. It was already like 11:30 and I started making like more fun beats.
Yeah.
Because left to my own devices, I'm super melancholy and just like a ton of, I'm my favorite singer-songwriter is like Sun Kill Moon. Like that's my vibe left to myself, Boards of Canada. And so they were so fun that they made me just want to like party. So that makes sense why you love that.
So yeah, there's a couple of things going on there. Davey lived with them essentially at the time. So I was exposed to a lot of that. And then his band was a band called The Kid You Nots. And, they had a couple of tracks that were like fine, fun, whatever. And one night they did a night of all hip hop covers. And I went to Velour and watched that show unfold and just felt the undercurrent of something there. Like it wasn't dialed in. It was kind of, rough around the edges, but like he handed me the mic down in the audience to do Eminem's verse on Forgot About Dre. And like, it just felt very good to do it. And so after the show, I approached him and was like, hey, if this band breaks up, let's try hip hop. And they broke up like 2 weeks or a month later or something. And he was
you could feel it.
Yeah, but I was off the high from that night, of course. And I was just like, I actually don't know if I know how to write hip hop or write those kind of lyrics or whatever. So he wrote the first couple. And then and I'm still this way. I'll occasionally have somebody come in and edit or whatever. Like if I'm just not nailing the messaging that I want to, kind of ghostwrite a few bars here or there. But it felt so weird to deliver someone else's words in a way that I can't explain. It just always felt like it's not bad. It's just not how I would have said it. I would have said it like this. And then very quickly it became like, well, then say it however you want to.
Yeah.
Like, if you have a message that you want to get out in a way that you want to do this thing, then you bloody do it.
Yeah. Okay. So you did Can't Stop, Won't Stop. That was your group. How many years were you? I mean, you're still making music under that title, right?
I still make music under that title. It rotated a little bit over the years. And I don't think this is throwing him under the bus. Davey and I are like still very good friends. We talk pretty frequently, but he just likes to do what he likes to do. He likes to change it up, and he will work at an art exhibit for a couple of years. He'll like go to a public works project. He got his master's from Columbia. He just kind of likes being a dyed-in-the-wool artist and not being tethered to one specific thing. I do love that. I really thrive well on like, now I wake up at 7, I'm out of the house by 8:30, and I've fed the kids. And when I go to work, I write a verse and my day, like, I like imposing a structure on myself. I don't like it from other people when they're like, hey, do this, do that. I cave or hate them or whatever. But
Yeah.
anyway,
Dude,
yeah.
Tell me about the highest, like when did you guys
Peak?
Well, I don't like the word peak, but maybe up to this point, when did you peak?
Yeah. There's an all-time high, right?
Yeah.
So in terms of like visibility or fan base or whatever, probably actually almost exactly 10 years ago, we released an album called Will the Beast.
I remember.
And right now Facebook is serving me like, remember 10 years ago when like everyone liked your stuff? I was like, yeah, it's cool. Now there's two things going on there. One, Facebook was way more organic in those days. And two, we were just posting a ton, right? We were young. I was single. I just had a lot of fun, like stories and experiences to share with that peer group. So that was probably peak, like, fame, right? Or as close as we ever got to that. And but a lot of what we did was like get our songs in other people's stuff.
Yeah.
That was always the most fun hack to me.
What do you mean by stuff? What type of
content?
Mediums? Yeah. I mean, like film? How far did your stuff spread?
We didn't get film stuff until more recently, in the last like 4 years or so. Those have started to come through. But YouTube videos specifically. So across YouTube, the last I tabulated it, the songs have like 6 billion impressions or something.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
And it always just felt more efficient than touring to me. Like I had a lot of friends in bands that were grinding away, and it's like, I don't know, I just go down to VidCon and make a couple friends and like send them my new track. When it's done, it seems to go pretty good, Like who
are some big YouTubers that have used your stuff? Who's the biggest?
The one that like most people know is Devin Supertramp.
Right.
Because his videos went legit viral.
Yeah.
The one that like accounts for the most impressions though is this gaming channel called Quebblecop, who I don't remember what his subscriber count is now, but it's north of 10 million, and we're the outro song.
Dude, that's huge.
In every video. Yeah. So he reached out when he was just shy of 1 million subscribers. He was like, hey, I heard you on Devin Supertramp. I like your stuff. Can I use it as the outro song? And my policy for YouTube has always been like, yeah, I mean, if you're getting paid, we want to get paid.
Yeah, how do you monetize that?
I don't, which I've been met with a lot of grief for that over the years. People are like,
publicity.
But it's very good.
No, it is really good. It is the joke though that come play my wedding, you'll get free publicity.
Yeah, and we did that stuff with our policy for shows used to be that. Like, so we've played weddings, never a funeral, but like
never a funeral, you said?
No.
That would be a sweet funeral.
I would do it still. But who
would you like to play your funeral?
Someone living. Is John Prine still alive?
I think so.
Boy, I feel like he'd do a special job.
He was not a rowdy funeral.
I don't know. I know my answer. Who? Actually, Avett Brothers.
Yeah. Okay.
I love them, and they wrote what is my favorite song, "No Hard Feelings," and that might be cliche, but they somehow speak a lot of truth in very few words, which is like my favorite thing about the art form. It's like, how much power can you pack into 16 bars? And I kind of hide behind hip hop in a way, like if I were really being as vulnerable as I could, I would write like that. But every time I sit down and try to do it, I either want to cram a bunch of syllables into it to like make it more, or it's just not exactly the way I wanted to say it, and so I stop. And so people that have kind of tapped into that and like, yeah, that's it. So anyway, their track "No Hard Feelings" is.
Are they religious, do you think? What would you suspect?
My guess is that they were raised religious, and would now identify more as spiritual, but maybe Christian leaning.
Yeah.
Which, there's a continuum there. And I probably fall a little more towards the, devout end of the spectrum.
Yeah.
But I get it. Like I inhabit that space a lot where it's like, I don't know if I don't know every particular of this thing, if that's how it's going to be. There's a lot that I believe that, may come to pass or may not. But in my church in Los Angeles, the bishop of that ward, who was kind of over the congregation, was sitting with him one time and discussing, concerns, big feelings I was having, whatever. And, you look to this guy as like a leadership figure. It's like, you give me the correct answer here, right?
Yeah.
And what he said, and I'll never forget it, was he goes, my ego's not tied up in it. I was like, how is that possible? Like, you've staked a lot on this thing. How can you? And he said, well, if I die and the lights just turn out, then what? Like, I spent my life trying to raise my kids to be honest and to deal fairly with their fellow man and all these net positive things. I don't know. I don't think I have a lot of regrets about that. Or if I die and God is not a white man, but it's a black woman and I was supposed to have been Jewish, then I just change teams then. Like,
yeah,
it doesn't really matter. And he said, but for the purposes of moving forward in my life, I really like this framework. And I think it does the most good of anything that I have seen in my life. So yeah, I keep banging that drum.
That's a beautiful thought. I feel like some of the hardest times of my life spiritually is when I feel like I should have it all figured out and you're just wrestling. And sometimes the answers like don't come and don't need to come. I mean, is it essential that we know like all the answers at once? Like, obviously not, because
we're not getting them.
We're not getting all of them.
Yeah.
And that's okay. And I think that's why faith is so important, because you don't grow without faith, right?
Yeah, I think I've only had a couple, meaning sub 5 spiritual impressions in my life that felt almost like you heard a voice type of thing, but it's almost never that. It almost.
Are you saying like you're differentiating between like, oh, I know this could have been in my head, but like it wasn't you? Is that what you're saying?
Stuff that felt like it came from outside of me.
Right. Okay.
And frankly, one of them was about pursuing Can't Stop, Won't Stop as a career. So we started here in Utah, and then I got a job offer to go work at this startup out in San Francisco, which was a big swing for the guy that was hiring me. Because I didn't have a degree. I still don't. I was just sort of a hustly marketing guy. And he was like, yeah, I like that you do rap. I think that's some cool company culture, blah, blah, blah. And he brought me out. Great guy. I very quickly felt like there's nothing in this for me. I don't know what this company does. I don't think it's going to make it, and it didn't. Dude,
were you married at the time? Like, how big?
No.
Okay, so this is low risk.
25.
Low risk. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a risk, but I mean, like, you're not bringing a family. Got it.
I fit all my stuff into my Crown Victoria and drove from Provo to San Francisco.
Dude, what a sweet rapper's car, man.
It was delicious. That car has the biggest trunk, and it fit large subwoofers.
Like 7 miles to the gallon?
Not as bad as you would think. Not great, but like teens.
Yeah.
Teens, low 20s. But just the greatest car. I loved that car. And it sat 6. Like, there was a bench seat in the front and the back.
Yeah.
Like, it was dope. But anyway, he brought me out and I just hated it. I hated the people I was living with because I didn't know them.
Can I back you up real quick?
Yeah.
I want to know how you make decisions, because were you like asking if you should go do this thing, or is it kind of a whim? Like, how do you live your life when you're making life decisions? What was your mindset at that time? I often go with what's going to be the best story. That's cool. Because in the end, that's it. Like, that's all you get to leave is like, do you know one time I ran and grabbed groceries for Snoop Dogg, and I did that instead of like going to my job that day or whatever. It's like, I often try to go with what's going to be the best story. So when this guy took a bet on me and was like, do you want to come out here? I know you don't have a degree, but I think you're cool. Want to run marketing for my startup? It was like, yeah, let's go. I didn't have anything else to do, So I did that. But then when I got there and hated it, then I took to prayer and fasting in a way that I don't know if I ever have exactly. Like, I was really torn up about it, despite having no
wife, kids, nothing, no girlfriend. Like, it was just me. So I don't know why I was so broken up over it. But it was like, this guy's going to give you equity in a startup. He's exited on another company. He's going to succeed. He's a winner. This would work. Or, and at this point, Davey was out of the group for the first time, doing something else. And I just thought, what's the alternative? I can't go back to Utah. I just made such a big deal about leaving. Like, could I go to LA and try rap? And it felt so irresponsible and so dumb. So I was fasting and praying, I don't know, a week or two, like fasting on and off during that time. And I felt like, again, outside voice type of thing, not audible, but the answer came pretty clearly to my mind. It sounded like God saying, I don't care what you do for work. All I care about is if it's going to make you a better father.
You're 25?
I was 25, no girlfriend, no kids, nothing. Okay. So that idea was way outside the scope of things that I was considering. Is it going to make you a better father? And then the answer to the question was very obvious to me. It was like, what would you tell your kids? To grind away at something that they totally hate, or go take a risk on something that's already kind of working. You might not be immediately successful. It might be hard. It might be scary, knowing that I would give that advice to my kids was like, well, you can't do it you can't say that unless you do it. So
sure, man.
I packed the car and drove and didn't have a place to go. I called my friend on the way down and was like, is your couch open? And he said, sure. And I lived on that couch for 6 months by their grace, like so generous to let me crash at their place for as long as they did. And then after 6 months or so, it started working, which is to say, like, money started coming in off downloads. It was like, no kidding.
That's cool. So were you making music or recording in LA? Or what were you doing? What were you doing during the day to push your career?
I was nowhere near as disciplined about it then as I am now.
That's okay. You're only 25.
Right. And like, didn't study music, didn't know the industry. I really was just like going out there saying like, hey, I can rap. Who wants me to do that? And Devin Supertramp at the time was just kind of breaking into commercial work. So he called me and was like, hey, I've got an opportunity to do this Mountain Dew spot. Do you want to write a song for it? And I said, of course. So I did. And then they scrapped the ad and I was devastated. And he was like, don't worry about it. I'm going to put it in this video. It's going to be awesome. And I was like, it's not going to be awesome. Like, how could it be as awesome as Mountain Dew paying us? And I was wrong. I've made a lot more on that song than I was going to get paid to do the Mountain Dew spot.
Dude, how cool is that, man?
The video got 28 million views. It's my biggest song. It's called Up and Away. And like, again, at the time, iTunes revenue was king. And so that was really fun.
Because people paid for the song.
People paid for the song, which I am not one of those, like, I don't know.
Just mad at how it is.
Yeah, like, what's the point?
Yeah, how's that going to help anything?
It's also not different for the record, any musicians that happen to be listening. People get real mad about the Spotify
0.3 cents.
0.3 cents. That is the same as YouTube. It's about a $3 to $6 CPM. So for every 1,000 views, you make about $3. It's the same. It's just streaming numbers. They're not good.
Yeah.
But don't you use it? I use Spotify or Apple Music all the time because now I have every album in the world. Like, for the consumer, it's awesome.
It is. It's hard because I am in the industry. I make my money from, licensing and custom work. That's mainly where it comes from. And it is easy to get mad thinking that like streaming is terrible. No one's buying songs. But I discover so many new artists because I subscribe to these services. And I know they're not making tons off me, but I if they come, I want to go see their show. You know what I'm saying? Like, I wouldn't have discovered them because the playing field is so level now. Anyone can make an album. Anyone can get on Spotify. Anyone can get discovered. So it's a balance, but I like, I'm just not mad where it's at right now.
Me neither. I mean, you look at somebody like Metallica, right? They were the most outspoken opponent
during Napster.
Of Napster.
Yeah.
And it's a bad look to do that. Like, hey, you guys, first of all, you've already made your bread. Like, you should probably just be grateful that happened. Go on tour. Like, you'll clean up, right?
Yeah.
Everyone will buy your shirts. You'll kill it. Drop another album and use Napster to your advantage. See if you can get new fans. Like, I never owned a Metallica album, but I would if it was free and awesome.
Yeah.
Like, I used to have to go either get mixed CDs from people at my high school. And it was cool, right? That was a cool kind of trading cards era of music where it was like, have you heard of whoever? And
dude, the
like,
CD burner. Remember how fun that was? Fun. That was so fun. CD burning parties, dude.
And that's gone.
It is.
It's gone, but it was super, super fun. All of us were trading and like, have you ever heard of Brad Meldau, this jazz pianist who's awesome and does like Radiohead covers and stuff? Like, super, super fun. Or I would go to summer camp and that was just like blow the lid off, right? You're meeting kids from different states that know all their local stuff. And it was like,
so cool.
I would always bring that stuff back to Maryland and like had the coolest stuff. And so I knew about the Killers before anybody at my high school, which gave me so much street cred. Everyone was like, wow, they're really good. And I was like, I know, they're really good. And I heard about them first.
They're from a little town called Nephi.
They're from Nephi, Utah. So anyhow, but where I'm at now, I'm in the same boat as you were. I discover a bunch of stuff. Like, what's the likelihood in the era of buying albums that I ever would have got turned on to a bunch of Christian rappers? Like, for whatever reason, and I share the same cringe when I hear that phrase.
There's
right?
a response when I heard that.
It must be terrible, right?
Yeah.
Like, there's no way it's good. I could put you on to like 3 or 4 or 5 guys that, like, you know, in a Pepsi challenge, you wouldn't know, right? It's not praise music. It's not whatever. It just happens to have clean lyrics. And every once in a while, they're like, and God loves me. That's why I'm so awesome, or whatever.
Wait,
like,
so it's not overly on the nose? Is that what you're saying?
My favorite stuff is not.
Yeah.
My favorite stuff just happens to have clean lyrics without, like, you know, like a Jay-Z song where they had to shoehorn in like a clean lyric to make the bar work. It was just written that way, so it flows nicely. But yeah, like Andy Mineo, No Big Deal, Lecrae. There's a few of them that are like, I would stand behind any of those and say they're genuinely good.
Okay, let's look this up after.
Yeah.
Share it with me. Okay, so how old are you now? You're hustling in LA. You're doing big music with Devin Supertramp.
Oh, are you off the world?
Are you off the couch yet?
I finally moved into a neighborhood where I thought, honest to goodness, this is how stupid I am, that there were kids in the streets shooting off fireworks all the time. It was gunfire.
You thought it was just a patriotic neighborhood?
I just thought that, you know, kids around here has got a lot of firecrackers, man. Yeah. I never saw the fireworks display, just heard the sound. So I'm just like walking around on my phone at night, like being a target of something. But anyway, yeah, I moved into a place, had no idea that it was remotely dangerous, and was on top of the world. It was like, how could it be better than that? And I think I was aware of it at the time. It's like, it's probably the sweet spot of your life. Just so we're clear, like, you're making good money. You have the most fun job. You have a bunch of friends. You have no kids. You like, this is it. And I think over time it started to go to my head just a little, right? I was never under the delusion that like I was very famous or something like that. But there's a certain level of like, I deserve all this. I don't think I got taken away necessarily, but I got married and I just couldn't get anything done for Can't Stop, Won't Stop for the longest time until, surprise, surprise, I had kids. And then all of a sudden I get a call from Dreamworks and they're like, hey, do you want to be in this movie? And it was like, I sure do. That's a big number you just said. Like, I do want that. And then I talked to Chelsea about it and was like, hey, what do you think? You know how I hate every job? I'm like, so I've been trying to play the licensing game too a little bit. I'm not as set up to do it because my stuff is just less customizable.
We'll get to your stuff now, but tell me about the DreamWorks deal. You don't have to say the number, but how, like what movie and...
You know, I don't mind saying the number.
Yeah, I would love to know.
So, and I say this because I think it benefits other artists.
It totally does. I think transparency is super healthy. I also don't know when people are weird about money. So I think I kind of just err on like, well, you just don't talk about it. But I am very interested in that.
Sure. So they offered $15,000 for it, which I knew was the lowball number. And it happened around COVID, so the deal took on a few different shapes over time. They were like, maybe we'll use 2 songs and pay you $100,000. Maybe we'll use 1 song and put it in this part of the movie instead of that part of the movie. And in the end, they said, all right, we want stop, drop, roll. It's in the opening scene and the characters are singing along, which that's called a visual vocal sync and carries more weight, right?
That's amazing.
It was good. So
which movie?
The Bad Guys.
I know of it. My kids loved it. I haven't seen it, but now I'm going to. This is a big deal.
The shark sings along to the song in the opening scene, and it's rad. They brought us down for the premiere and treated us well. Like, anyway, so they offered 15. In the end, we got 75.
Dude, congrats. That's awesome.
Felt pretty good. And at one point, I really took a swing. They're like, how about both songs, one here, one here? And I was like, $250,000. And they were like, if that's the number, the conversation's over. And it was like, then it's not the number. Like, tell me.
You went back on it?
Of course.
Yeah.
Like, I wanted to get something.
Yeah.
I would rather have a song in the background at the end of the movie than not get that deal at all. Still optimistic about a sequel and hopeful because the director is like, actually, I mean, I'm not going to say he's like a good friend, but if I DM him, we chat.
Dude,
he's a good guy.
So great, man.
Pierre Perifel, shout out.
Cool.
So yeah, 75,000, which was enough after we split it amongst me, Aaron, and Davey, that I could reasonably make the case to Chelsea of like, hey, I know this was a big one, but there are a lot of smaller ones. And like 6 months later, a different song was on some HBO show and that was $5,000.
Yeah.
And, you know the game.
That's a more traditional price for a placement in a TV show. Yeah. Got it.
So anyway, it's like, what if I just try and go get a publishing deal and kind of ride this momentum and I'll just get releasing songs on a schedule, which I did last year. And I don't think any of those songs are anybody's favorite Can't Stop, Won't Stop songs, including mine. Which, you know, it's okay. Like sometimes you just keep making stuff, right?
You never know. Yeah.
And one of those got a placement, right? Of the tracks that I made every 6 weeks last year, one of those got a placement. And more may yet come, but I am focusing more on like, I've watched a bunch. I don't watch most of his videos, but Mr. Beast is great in interviews and talks a lot about like, he doesn't do the schedule thing either. That YouTubers do, where it's like, I release videos on Mondays and Wednesdays.
Oh, I don't follow him closely. He doesn't
do that.
Is it by like when he's inspired more or what is it?
No, he's definitely rigorous schedule, but all on the back end. So like he is, like his production schedule is super dialed in. When it comes out isn't super important to him. It could be like a Wednesday morning or
you're saying like the actual day and time.
He doesn't do the public facing calendar thing.
So people don't expect this makes sense. Okay. So it's not groundbreaking that he's doing. It's just interesting that he doesn't care about and
he's the biggest channel on YouTube and TikTok.
That's cool. That's cool that he's doing his own thing.
He's doing his own thing. And like, basically what he says is like, I'm always just trying to make the best video I can. And always holding myself to that standard. Now that's like going to an artist and saying like, why don't you just like only write top 40 hits? It's like, well, I'm trying to.
Yeah, I actually believe in this. Not that you need to be a perfectionist, because that's
it doesn't work either.
That's a sign of fear, and like it's not perfect until it's perfect. But I do believe in doing the best at whatever you're doing, and so that's cool that he just wants to make his videos the best.
Yeah, that he possibly can.
That's awesome. That's the way to live.
And then when they're there, they are out there. It's a very Buddhist, like at least that piece of what he does is like. You ever seen those sand mandalas?
Dude, those break my heart, but I love it.
It's one of my favorite images that I know. Dude,
I picture like someone you're just packaging up this football, and you're just, what I'm saying? You throw it and you don't control what happens. You just let go. You don't know who's going to catch it. You know if it's going to be in bounds, it's gone. You know what I'm saying? Like you make the art, you put it out, and it's gone. If you did your best when you did it, you grew, you learned, and you're going to make something better the next time. That's the key. Instead of just like holding on to that reception and controlling the reception of how people say it, and being really scientific about when it's going to come out, and just controlling all these external things.
Yeah.
So it's beautiful.
And I think what I was doing even last year is maybe polar opposite, which is like just pump them out. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, I listened to a couple of them now, and it's like, did you even listen to the mixing session? Like, the lyrics are super buried. Why weren't you more on top of this to at least make it the best version of itself? Mm-hmm. Like, make it what it wanted to be. Mm-hmm. And I don't subscribe much to like looking backward and being upset about how I should have done it differently. It just informs like what I'm doing now.
That's the purpose.
I just wrote a song that I like the best of any song I've ever written.
Is that the one that you showed me?
Yes.
Dude, it's fantastic.
Thank you.
We'll link to it. What's it called again?
It's called I Love Being a Dad.
Okay, let's get back to this. You love being a dad. I looked at your Instagram recently, and your daughter is hilarious.
She's a good time.
She's great content. She's it's like you have a shoe in. I mean, people are just going to watch your stuff because she's so freaking cute.
Yeah, she's good.
The pronunciation, the words that children pronounce incorrectly are so good. And your daughter has some diamonds in there.
She's got some winners. Pintus is a
yeah.
heavy hitter.
Okay, so before we came down to start this podcast, we were talking about having kids, and you are 38.
Yep.
Your oldest is 4.
Oldest is 4, youngest is 1 and change.
Okay, so you were mentioning that you kind of got comfortable just being a childless couple, right?
Yeah. I got comfortable being a coupleless man and then a childless couple.
How did that 25-year-old David who got his you're going to be a good dad from doing this, did that ever ring in your ear through the years?
Yes, but I think again, to the degree that I took my eye off that ball, success waned. So
interesting. Tell me, go deeper on that.
So what I mean is, like the idea that I just got to a point with it where it was like, maybe I'll postpone dating, postpone having kids, all of it. And it's when stuff kind of wasn't working as well. So I started dating Chelsea and moved to New York from LA because I wanted to prioritize Can't Stop, Won't Stop. And it was a rough phase for Davey and I, and certainly for Chelsea and I. But I got there, he's in his master's program and just has no time, period, to do stuff for Can't Stop, Won't Stop. And I was shocked. It was like, this is, why aren't we doing this? And what I look back and think now, because I couldn't see it looking forward, but I think I can looking back, is like, well, you met the girl you were supposed to marry. What were you doing? Like, the next step is to marry her. And I think it was fine and good that we had a couple of years without kids. Like, I actually think you should do that if you get married. Like, it's very fun. Especially, we only dated for a year. Which,
those are great times. We were 2.5, 3 years.
Yeah. It's super fun.
Yeah.
No regrets. But then, we were married about 5 years before Chelsea got pregnant. And for the last couple, I don't know. It was just kind of like, what are you doing? Like, go have kids. That was the plan, right?
Did you want to? You felt like you needed to. Did you want to?
No, because just like everybody with everything, I just got used to a certain thing. Mm-hmm. And I think I, maybe more than other people, lean heavily into habit and routine and whatever. And it's like, I don't know what a kid's going to be. Like,
not that.
If it's like me, it's going to be a pain in the butt. And my son is, and it's awesome. But like, it can be very hard. I mean, there's no cliche that doesn't apply with kids. Like, so fun, so rewarding. It's like all this stuff.
I always say they're the absolute best and they're the absolute worst.
100.
And often in the same day.
Yeah.
Many times.
Often in the same minute.
Yeah, minute.
They can do the thing. I said this to somebody recently, like, everybody always says that having kids is hard, and that undersells it. Like, in the same way that climbing a mountain is hard, when you climb a mountain actually, and you're out of breath and sweaty and realize that you haven't gone on enough runs in your life and whatever, like, by the time you get to the top of the mountain, incredibly rewarding, really hard to get there, and you do it every morning.
Yeah.
You wake up and just start again with kids. Like, what mood is she going to be in today? Oh, good mood. Great. Today's going to be an easy climb. Like, oh, she's sick and he's sick and neither one of them slept and neither one of us slept. And she wants to watch TV all day, but that's against the rules. Like, we're in for a day of full fighting, the loudest, most piercing scream that even to other people, it doesn't land like it does with your own kids. Like, it hits your soul with your own kids.
It goes right to the core, man.
It's brutal.
Yeah.
So anyway, yeah, it's super hard, but the highs are high.
The highs are really high.
I am always actively trying to snapshot those somehow.
Like physically?
Just in my mind. Like
Pam and Jim on the wedding, remember?
Yeah. The invisible cameras?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
That. Exactly like that. Because he's only going to be one time.
I know. It's so sad when you wake up and you're like, I have a 12-year-old and my dad sent me a meme and it's like, by the time they're 12, 75% of the time that you spend with them is over in their life. Does that make sense?
Yes. And I hate it.
12 years old, you've spent 75% of the time you will spend with them. It's gone.
Yeah.
And that seems
which means that by the time they're 9, that's 50.
Yeah, it feels like robbery. It feels like it's not fair. What's also I think is fair is young parents are just doing their best and it's so hard to be present. It's so chaotic. I feel like trying to get those snapshots when they're young is a big challenge because everything is so new and so hard. It's not that it's not beautiful, but like we're programmed to like worry and take care and plan for the future. And it's so everything is against us being present.
I agree with you. I was thinking about this today. I don't know why, but like, do you remember did you ever switch schools or like if maybe you lived in the same school district your whole life?
When I was a kid, like elementary. Yeah.
Those buildings are so cold, like visually. Elementary schools, all public schooling.
It's like Soviet.
It's very just like
brutalist
architecture. A little better than a prison, like in terms of style.
Nothing soft with the architecture.
Yeah.
Got it, yeah.
And I really didn't care for school, but I was thinking today and almost weirdly missing that feeling of entering a totally foreign space and all the possibilities in either direction. Are kids going to pick on you? Are you going to make a bunch of friends? What is this going to look like? Mm-hmm. I haven't had that forever, right? Because adulthood is just not that way as much. The experience of having new children is hard and confusing, like entering those new spaces. Mm. And in retrospect, yeah, it ends up being just sort of a vibe that persists. Like, wow, we had a kid, and then 6 months into having a kid, COVID hit, which I don't mean to be one of those guys that like belittles the people that had such a hard time with it. Mm-hmm. It could not have come at a better time in my life. Mm-hmm. The only thing that I had to do was take my kid on walks every day it was a total blessing for me. And I'm sorry for the people for whom it was not, right? I don't mean to diminish that, but it happened to hit perfect for me.
I mean, it was obviously hard, but such a great time. Like, I look back at those times where we were forced to like look at our kids in the eyes for a lot of the day.
Yeah.
For a lot of the day. Yeah. I remember going on walks. I remember I was looking through my old Instagram, and one of the posts was just me and my son Rad on a walk, just feeling love for, like, I just felt so much love for that moment.
Yeah. And when's the last time you like did that every day?
Yeah.
Right. It's true. The good part about COVID, quarantine, whatever, is it did stop everybody simultaneously in their tracks. Like, none of us are doing it. You can go get groceries, kind of, but movie theaters, done. Like, whatever you're using to distract yourself from a couple very important things like family, that's off the table.
It's hard to look at yourself and know that you're doing a good job. Sometimes you can. How do you feel like, because you are doing what you love and you feel like, I mean, I hope God told you to do what you love and it makes you a better father. How do you feel like you're doing right now?
At this moment, I think I'm in harmony with it in a big way. Like, the song, when I was telling you earlier about Avid Brothers, and like, if I could write something that I really wanted to write, it would sound more like that. I Love Being a Dad is the most me that I feel like I've ever sounded. It's like, there. That's something you actually really care about. When I was 26, I actually cared about partying and having fun with my friends too, but that's a shallow thing. Like, it's like eating sugar. It's like, yeah, it tastes awesome, but there's nothing to it. And I said it the way I wanted to. The song feels like I feel. I can't really put great words to that, but like, it's kind of sentimental but bouncy and fun at the same time. It's like that. Dude, that's my vibration.
It's got a good vibe
musically.
Yeah.
Or the musical manifestation of what I want to express. That's it. So that's right on. I am so nervous that, because I haven't placed a financial bet on a thing like that since Wildebeest, which was 10 songs, and I had a group and I had a following and yada yada. And I'm starting from cold basically on this one with a kind of a rebrand. And I am just trusting and praying a lot. It's like, just let it work. You don't have to make me rich off it, but like, I hope it connects with people for real. There's some Truman Capote quote that I always botch and can't remember, but the essential conceit of the quote is that when you write something true, the first time you do it, it takes you over, right? Makes you cry, makes you lose sleep, whatever it is. Like, when you really nail something, it's a total body experience for artists. And by the 100th revision, by the time you've been through 3 mixing sessions or whatever, you've heard that song 100 times more, maybe, right? And nothing kills meaning like repetition, but you just have to trust that when somebody else hears it, it's going to be the first time that they've heard it expressed that way too, and that it will land that way for some other people. So I'm very hopeful. If nothing else, and I do come back to it on this particular track, if it isn't successful in the traditional ways, I'm still very glad I wrote it. Because if I die next week, there's a record, literal and figurative, of how I felt about my kids. That's fun to listen to. And my kids will say, that was our dad. And that's how he felt about us.
I don't know if there's anything better than that.
I mean, it's important to me.
Along these lines of making art that matters. Every year on my wife's birthday, my kids come down and we make a song for her, about her.
That's great.
and no one else hears it except us.
Yeah.
But they're like such treasures hearing my kids when they're 2 to 12. You know what I'm saying? Just like their little voices praising their mom. And those songs to me are more precious than anything that I've done that's been impactful, you know, like
of course
for a film score or whatever else I do, you know.
You couldn't get, I mean, I know you wrote a song for the Jazz.
Yeah, I mean, I do like stuff for them, sure.
There's nothing.
And it's cool.
Yeah. There's nothing that you could do financially that would have the same Richter scale impact as that.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, I don't mean to like dwell on this kind of macabre idea of like if I died next week, but I think about that a lot.
I mean, that's one of my memento mori. I mean, it's like all things are going to die. You could die. Like the time is now. I think about this a lot because the dude the man, the woman who is living life presently connected to the divine. I mean, like living a pure, like earnest life, doing good. They can die peacefully. They can die and they're not like holding on, like, I didn't do this. I didn't, you know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? Death won't be this terror that they weren't never in the present. So they feel like they're going to lose. I mean, tomorrow you could die. You've given your all to your children. You've lived your life according to what God has wanted you to. And so you can go peacefully. And I think like what greater gift of that peace could there be in this life? I don't know.
I don't either. I mean, yeah, I know that I have done my level best.
Yeah, like, and I know you're going to do way more. It always gets better. You might, you know, there's peaks and valleys, and you're going to write some dumb stuff. I write dumb stuff. Then you ascend something amazing, and that's how life goes. It's ups and downs. But it's the creative aspect of it is the fun part. And I love looking back and hearing stuff that I made and remembering that time in my life. And maybe I wasn't doing that great. But it's like this, like, that's where I was. And then it's such a beautiful thing to look like. And I was doing great at this point. And you have this mosaic, this tapestry of your life, and you can see this art and these records that you've left. And it's really beautiful and cool and a treasure to your family and kids. Yeah,
it is super cool. It's also curious. I mean, I'm 38, which is not old enough to be old, but it's old enough to be able to look back and see where the pivot points were. Mm-hmm. And to now be able to look forward and say like, oh, maybe this is one of those. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you're doing some cool stuff. Tell me about this. Tell me about Rap Dad.
The Rap Dad thing came about for a couple of reasons. So my podcast is called Rap Dad. And the tagline is that I rap books that rhyme and read books that don't.
The moment that you wake me and shake me out of my bed daily, it's so much work and you don't even pay me. Gone are the days when I could sit and be lazy, and when you disobey me, it makes me so crazy. But then again, it's crazy how happy you make me.
I think you're doing a good job.
Thank you.
The trajectory is looking nice.
I'm working on it.
And I did notice the slower BPMs. It's not your traditional hip hop. It is definitely hip hop, but it's more like laid back. The energy is not laid back at all, but I'm saying the beat speed is kind of...
I just don't have a laid back. I try so hard to sound laid back on a beat, and it just has never happened one time.
Just lean into your talents, dude.
This is the voice I've got.
Let's end on this, dude. What's your daily practice to commune with the divine?
Yeah, daily practice. We do... my son doesn't, because he never stops making noise for the hours that he's awake, but my wife, my daughter, and I all say a prayer at night, which is always hilarious because my daughter wants to say them every time now.
I would love to hear these.
I mean, you got to trust that God is listening and like he knows her, because we're trying to hold her still and she's the least sit still person ever. She is rolling on the floor. She's doing voices during the prayer or whatever, but she wants to be the one to say it. So we do family prayer at night. Every morning when I get into my office, I say a prayer, and for whatever reason, it's important to me to do it out loud, because for some reason, my mind just wanders if I don't.
Okay.
Like, in case this conversation didn't show you.
That's a good enough reason to do that.
Yeah, it's like, all right, say it out loud, and then it's very obvious when I'm off course, or when I'm like, I'll say something, and then I'm thinking about the thing that I said. Mm-hmm. It's like, then I'm back to it. So I just do like a little speech in the morning.
Yeah.
Say, these are the things I'm grateful for. If you could help with these couple of things, that'd be awesome. And And then, you know, sort of a prayer in my heart throughout the day thing. And then we have little jobs that we do for church, callings they call them, that don't require a ton of us. Like, we basically print up a little thing that shows who's going to be speaking that week and what songs are being sung. We do the program. And I take pride in it. I like to do a good job.
Do you choose like edgy fonts and stuff?
No, but what I did, and I'm being met with some resistance just because people like what they like. I don't want to print them anymore. So I bought a website and built it, and then I framed these QR codes and posted them in the church.
Dude, you're so progressive.
I am very edgy. So no, I don't do edgy fonts, but I have an edgy execution. And yeah, the bishop of this ward is like, could you just print them out? And it's like, do I have to? And he's like, yes. Like, that's what the old people in the ward like. And it's like, I'll print 20.
Just print the frickin' programs.
It's not that big a deal. And like, I'm over it, or I'm over fighting against it, but I tend to run a little contrary, especially when I'm sure my idea is better. It's like, what if I'm out of town? I can still update the website, but I can't come print them. Like,
it's true.
Get everybody used to the QR code and we're golden. But
it's true.
For the time being, I shall print.
Dude, I love it. Okay, let's leave it right there. Dude, thanks for coming on. That was very enlightening. I love talking.
So fun.
I love talking about fatherhood. So this is perfect.
So do I.
I hope you enjoyed this episode. More importantly, I hope you feel closer to your Creator. If you find yourself wanting to strengthen your relationship with God, I'm a huge fan of the Skylight app. It's full of beautiful, high-quality daily spiritual practices. Finally, never forget, in all things, God works for the good of those who love Him.